We are building a Märklin layout, and we're starting with a starter pack. Starting with Märklin Digital, we proceed. That is indeed included. And here we have a starter pack for a freight train of era 3, and we're just going to carefully unpack those now, so we already know what we can smoothly start with on our model railway layout. So, a substantial pack filled to the brim with numerous items inside, and there is absolutely everything you need to begin with your Märklin layout right away. A track circle, in this case an oval, a mobile station, which is the digital control unit, and of course a complete train. In this case, a freight train from era 3, a steam locomotive with a few cars, and we'll take a look together at all the fine things that are included. So here we first see the entire scope with a user manual. This is the track box. It is connected to the power. This is the digital control unit, the mobile station that we have here. And down here is a power supply included as well. And then we have a nice little steam locomotive and 2 freight cars up here. And if we now put away the instructions, then we will see very, very many tracks at once. Because there is already quite a lot included, so we can start right away with our Märklin train. So, I'll unpack this calmly. What do we start with? I'd say we start with the tracks, so one can see what it looks like right away, even before we start controlling. Let's start with the curves. 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 5, 6 form a semicircle. Then, it has to be 6 again, making it a total of 12. And then, we have a complete circle if we set up the system in the same way here. So, this is the Märklin C track. This is particularly easy to set up, because you don't need to know much, except that you just snap 2 rails together. And then, it essentially starts right here. And, if we now proceed to connect 6 such rails together, then, quite remarkably, we already have a semicircle formed for the layout. Let's just go ahead and do that now. Then there's already a bit lying around here that we can tinker with, or rather, take a leisurely test drive with our delightful little Märklin train set. So, here it is not just a circle, here it is a whole oval that we have here. That's why we're making some room, because our train needs a little bit. Now, we actually have linear rails in here, or straight tracks, and as you can see, they are already of different lengths. So here, you can already see there are indeed a few different tracks, and one particular track is exactly 18.8 centimeters in length, while the other is precisely 17.2 centimeters long. And now, we'll just clip them together. Then you see, 2 such tracks always fit together particularly well. This has a bit to do with it later on, if you also want to work with turnouts. But more on that in another episode. So, now our oval is almost ready. In fact, we can actually quite easily stack these 2 rails one behind the other on one side. And the other 2 behind each other on the other side. And then one can roughly calculate what dimensions it will give when we set up the system here. I can quickly check the ceiling camera, and you can view it from above. There's a lot of space. I got my board where we can set this up nicely. And there we are already laying out the circle of tracks. And I've already done it wrong. If we set it up like this now, then it immediately curves a bit here. Actually, that's also a quite nice track layout, but I think I might have just put in 1 round rail too many, perhaps. That's precisely why we're sticking with the semicircle for now, and we're carefully attaching this right back to the front. And then, we can proceed to meticulously finish constructing the second semicircle back in this area. Yes, so as I said, these are very, very simple tracks to click together here. The Märklin C track. I'll show this again very briefly in close-up here, because here you can already see a few things in the back, namely here 2 such connection flaps, connection tabs, flaps, depending on, yes, such flat connectors there. And then you can also actually establish a connection with a cable later, then the system gets power. And you can see here at the back, it says something, namely R1, 30 degrees. This means radius 1 at a 30-degree inclination or curve, in this case. And of course, one can then also construct a dual-track image by showing oneself a radius as well. 2 fetches or radius 3, radius 4, and so on and so forth. So of course, you can also build very large systems with it. But for now, the radius of 1 unit is completely adequate for the small system we have here. Indeed. So, essentially that should now be forming a semicircle, right? That's precisely, without any doubt, how it appears. And now, I can easily put my starter pack right in the middle. Then, the train can already smoothly drive around our entire starter pack. I'll close it now, do a bit of tidying up on the side. There she stands well. And then we can proceed with unpacking. So we actually just need to finish clicking here on the side and down there. So, and then we're off. What do we continue with? Let's start with the little cart. Then you can see right away with the re-railing. I'll just place the pack over to the side here. And then you'll notice a car here. It's a very simple yet modestly sized small freight car of era 3. And we can actually just put that on track immediately right here. So, and then he goes for a ride around here. There's also a re-railing device. I believe I had one. If you can't do that by hand, you can sort of get it back on track here. Where did I have those? I had something like that somewhere. There she is. Look over here. So if you're doing this for the first time, or if you're doing it with a locomotive, then you can also take a re-railing device. And then he just drives the little cart onto the facility. So the second car that is included in this starter pack is a covered freight car here. That's what they call it, I believe. So with a roof. And he's already driving up to it here. And now we already have 2 carts attached. And now, of course, comes the big prominent star. Now comes our steam locomotive, which is very carefully and precisely packaged here on the side. Let's unpack that one very extra carefully. Specifically speaking, it goes on, and now we have the locomotive here. And there, you can now see something truly special. Namely, at the bottom, we have what is called a grinder. That is, so to speak, the current collector that such a locomotive indeed has. And we'll take a very close, detailed look at that. Then you see there's essentially a pole here. That means one electrical contact is here, and the other contact comes quasi through the wheels. And with that, our quaint little steam locomotive indeed gets electricity on this track. And you can see that nicely here on the track. In fact, there are so-called point contacts inside, so this center conductor, which you can see here. Let's take a look at it from above. Then you can indeed see it better. Here, you observe such small dots, and that's where the grinder is on. And that's precisely how it gets its power, etc. So the steam locomotive gets its electricity on track, then off we go. What did I say? I said there would be 2 little carts inside. That was nonsense. There is even a third one involved. And it's still in here. Namely, what is this? I believe they call that a low-side car. We can also put that one on here. And to make sure he looks especially good, he also comes with a little bit of accessories. And these little ones, what do you call them? Write that in the comments. I'm just calling these stamps now. They are going in there now at the top. You actually need scissors for that task, already starting with the tinkering process. And then you also have protection here at the same time, ensuring that the cargo doesn't accidentally fall out when the cart is positioned in here, just like this. So how do we do it this way? Which way does this go in? That looks quite good. And now, this is simply plugged in right here on the side. Or did I actually do that correctly? So, I'm actually lowering the car again. Yes, indeed, that looks quite good. I'll show you that up close so you can clearly see how they managed to get in there, those things. So, they are just pushed in here. This way or that way. They really should go in there just like that. Or perhaps, could they possibly go in the other way around instead? We can best look at that in the picture. But I would have confidently said they absolutely belong. Wow. Let's indeed take a moment to look at the photo of the train. What precisely does it look like in the photo? In the photo, it looks right that way around. And precisely indeed the other way around. So, that's how it's supposed to be. So now, they are really in it. And this has indeed become a job. We will do it a few times until we are completely, thoroughly finished. So, in the meantime, I can certainly tell you a little bit about this Märklin train because what we haven't yet set up is our digital driving device. A bit has happened at Märklin in the last 160 years, namely one innovation after another, and by now, these trains are all running digitally. That means inside such a locomotive there is a digital decoder, and this digital decoder essentially recognizes what this mobile station, this driving device is called, tells it, and can then, for example, turn on the light or make a noise. And at the same time, this system also allows multiple locomotives to run on the same track simultaneously. This means that one no longer has to turn out between different circuits as before. But in this way, different trains can also take their turns on a track. Then, you can also effortlessly turn out the points with it and turn out signals, all of that. And we will show you a bit in the upcoming episodes how the entire thing works seamlessly. And I really do that in real time, so you can take a look at this here. And sometimes crafting takes a bit of time. Sometimes I prepare a little something maybe until the next episode. And I will also indeed show you several different starter packs. And then you just look at how everything precisely works here. And then you could also rebuild your own track. And in the comments, that's precisely where we answer the comments. So, how is good? These are the colleagues from Märklin in Göppingen. I'll chip in with answers if I know something. I aim to make this understandable for all. We'll guide both beginners and advanced learners. Everyone can build a track here. So, not just the model railway experts, and then let's see how far we get to a nice track for the living room. Or whether it turns out to be a miniature wonderland, like in Hamburg. How ambitiously I can craft together with your help in the comments. So now it should actually be quite good. Oh, there are some more back there. My God, look at that. I thought so already indeed that I was so very far. And now there are some more. So, no, actually, those are the little ones right here. Those are precisely the ones there. They go in there. So, but the others, they don't go in there at all. And now it should indeed be correct in just a moment. There are still some there, exactly as expected. Cargo's safe here too. What? What exactly can we consider putting in there? Perhaps cookies, or maybe something a bit more realistic? Like such a roll, an industrial roll. So, have I missed anything? If two are left, one is a reserve. Or perhaps I simply forgot to include something. Great. So our little train could theoretically already be making its rounds. However, we don't push it by hand, but now it is controlled with the digital control unit. And we'll take a closer look at that. So first of all, we have a power supply included here. Just a normal power supply for the socket. And we'll just go ahead and crank that up a notch. Then we plug that into a standard electrical outlet. And then our train also utilizes a bit of electricity. So I've carefully laid out a junction box right here. There she is, right in front of us. And now, without further delay, we need to proceed to secure the second device, ensuring our mission progresses smoothly. And this is the so-called track box, which you can see here. And then, within that, you can also update it with software and everything attached to it nowadays. Indeed. As said, all digital. And then you have the option here to directly connect the control unit. And the nice thing is, I'll show you that in more detail soon, you can connect several things here right away. Here you see, there are two connections on it, or rather three. In this plug, I'll show it again in the other camera, right here. Now you see it better. You can easily plug in the power supply, and here a so-called mobile station is attached. That is the digital control unit, and you can connect two per track box. It's important to connect only one track box to your system to avoid a short circuit. That would be unfortunate, so please connect just a single track box. So, and where does this go now? The track box, indeed. I'll show you that on another track. I still have a box of tracks here. Look here, I took another one of these rails, such a track, and now there are these little pegs on the back. And into these relatively small cones, that's precisely where our plug from this track box actually proceeds at this moment. There is indeed something of a brown hue and also something distinctly red. Following that, you can, without hesitation, proceed to plug it in. Here. Let's just take a look at it immediately. The red cable goes to the B. B as in, remember it, like railway power, and the brown cable that then goes to the 0. And then you can simply connect this rail with all the other rails. And then the circuit was already closed. I just have to do that now on the right track, since it was a test track. I'm taking it down again. And you can remove that again. You don't have to keep it there forever. In theory, you can also solder it in place for a really big system. But if you, for example, just want to play on the carpet or on a tabletop like here, then you can simply peel off these so-called flat plug sleeves, that's what they're called, and rebuild them for next time. So, here I see it has not been quite firm yet. So now the train has to move aside for a moment, so that we can then, with intention, turn the rails around to ensure they connect precisely with that. So, I'm just going to put the track box to my side now, and now I'm just going to open the track again and take a round track here and just connect the rail again. What exactly did I say? B is indeed red. We'll take another closer look at that in the other camera here. I'll go ahead and plug it in right here. So, now hopefully it's clear, it's remarkably sharp. So, where exactly do I have to go? Yes, now it's sharp, so here is the red cable. That depends on the B, and the brown cable goes to the 0. And then, our track box is already properly connected to the track. So now let's make it nice. Theoretically, you could now take a small crepe tape, stick it down if you wish to play on the carpet, or you can screw it tightly in place. By the way, there are small pilot holes here on the track. If you go in with a small screwdriver or do the same on the other side, you can later screw such a track onto a wooden board like the one underneath. Then you don't lose that. And then one could also solder that at the bottom with a soldering iron. But now let's just go ahead and attach it here and allow our track the chance to take its inaugural laps right away. You see, I'm doing this extremely thoroughly, but I just want you to know how it's done. And then you have such a mini explainer video, like a tutorial. So, now the plug should be securely positioned on the track box, right here, without any issues. And now, we can indeed put the entire thing here. Oh look, I've kept these things here, so we can make it nice right away. Let's make cables stylish right away. Roll them up again, so we avoid a cable mess here. Then, the train does not get caught on the cables with its buffers at the front. And now we just twirl this around here, a little bit, carefully. And just quickly, go ahead and secure it right here, with this little wire, ensuring a snug fit. So then indeed, there is absolutely no mess, no disorder here. Certainly, without any doubt whatsoever. So, once securely plugged into the power supply, then it's finally time for our little star, which is affectionately known as the mobile station that we have right here with us. So, this one is actually completely brand new. The display is nicely protected, and the plug is also nicely protected at the back, so that the small pins do not break off. You can also keep this little protective cover, then you can nicely keep the mobile station so it doesn't break. There is also a cable tie attached here, so let's wind the wire up. Maybe we'll need that later. And now we can very nicely plug in this cable right here on the side. I'll actually show that again momentarily here on the other camera. And this just goes on right here now. Now please take a close look at these pin images. Then you can see that there is a notch here at the top on the side. And she is here too. That means the cable comes in here with the flat side facing up. And now our mobile station is already plugged into the track box. And as if by a miracle, something has already happened. In fact, she has already started and wants to have her update first. Says, I can update this track box sometime. That's how it is when you unpack things for the first time. And now we can take a look at these 8 keys right here. Down here is actually the confirmation button for the right side, and on the left side is the confirmation button for the right side. I'm just holding this up to the camera, truly close again, so you can actually see it again here on the side. So, at this moment we can proceed to update the entire thing for now. And what exactly happens now? The track box, so the device located back there, is now actually getting an update from the mobile station. You can visit the dealer for it or always get the latest software update on the large mobile station or track box. If you know someone in your circle with a large Märklin transformer, like a central station, you can also do the software update via the internet. So, now let's look at the whole thing from above. And then we see here, it says stop on the side, and now I can put the locomotive on the tracks. There is no electricity on the system yet. But now, I could go ahead and just take the locomotive, for example, and put it on my track. And now I'm going to do that with the locomotive. I'll move the carts aside so we see it better. And now, I simply proceed to turn on the power to the model railway by gently pressing the stop button right here, without any rush. And then the following happens. At first glance, nothing happens at all, but on second glance, it looks very nice. First, look at the mobile station, what's actually on the track here, and starts to blink. It blinks with the word MFX. This is a Märklin function expert decoder, no idea, a shortcut, so essentially an MFX decoder, a digital decoder. And he has now successfully recognized a locomotive, specifically the BR 747, an 854. This is essentially the serial number of this locomotive, the operating number of this locomotive. And this decoder has now stored this information in the locomotive and is automatically recognized. That means you don't have to worry about how you can control this locomotive, but now you can just go ahead and get started right away. And now our locomotive can immediately start making its rounds. I just turned it on, the mobile station, and then we can drive slowly or fast with it, and then it starts to turn. And now we have to stop them for a moment, because the way my track is laid out here, there's going to be a train accident right away. Let's put that in a proper place now, so our locomotive can safely and smoothly make its rounds. I'm making some room for myself, because the fun starts now. So, I'll briefly set aside the instruction manuals. We'll take a closer look at them later, because there are still important details in there regarding the track plan and accessories and everything. So, mobile station comes to one side here, and I pack my little carts in the middle. And now, very carefully, okay, here is my oval, precisely as intended. And yes, indeed, a little bump like the one here on the side, the train can certainly handle that without any issues. Let's hope. Let's see this. All right, I'll step on it with the locomotive, or go backwards again. There is still indeed a bit of styrofoam on the track, so then I'll stop them here for a moment. Oh, I just pressed the little red button to change the direction. Look here, just press, and then you can see here in the front display, it simply changes its direction symbol from forward to reverse. And there you can see even more symbols, above a little lamp symbol. I'll press that, then you'll see, does the locomotive turn its light on now? Now you can't see anything from the back, but pressing here, you'll notice she's turned on the back light, signaling she's reversing. Now it's smoothly moving forward. The so-called headlight is brightly on at the front. So now we can just take our re-railing device again, carefully, and can effectively couple the small wagons to the locomotive, ensuring a smooth operation. And they still continue to couple there, coupling even more fervently. And then they move forward a bit so that we have ample space available for the next little carts to join in. Attention, there is a cable here. Okay, we still need to adjust the braking deceleration. It brakes a bit too slowly, but nothing happened. Cables out of the way. You genuinely mean well with the intricate wiring down here, particularly with the smaller wires. So, now, and notably, the last car. And now we need some kind of cargo attached to the back. What do we actually have here as cargo? For example, what exactly do we have here, I wonder? It appears to still be installed in the drawers from the last time we checked, doesn't it? Is there anything in there that could possibly be quickly utilized as cargo at this very moment? I found a little something here. I still have doors. I found doors from a freight shed. We can put them in there. Let's put them in here, shall we? What else do we have? Here, we have a bit of solder indeed. We'll put that in there. Oh, now it's getting pretty tough here. But the railway manages to do that anyway. And I would have another thread of patience for those who believe that all this happens very, very quickly. I absolutely need it very, very often here while meticulously crafting the famous and indispensable thread of patience. So now we eagerly continue with the assembly of the locomotive, and we can just take a leisurely short round. So, let's get started with our very first digital starter pack. There, the car is not properly coupled yet, indeed. But, quite surprisingly, it worked. So then we'll head off now and allow them to do their laps uninterrupted. Slowly, we are commencing with our Märklin starter set, featuring our freight train of Epoch 3, which is, at this very moment, making its rounds here. I just see the doors open on the little cart. Might just close that right away. Yes, and now we're almost not quite finished. Now we're done with the beginning, we can really get started. For example, there are sliding supplement packs, allowing you to build a beautiful track world from this oval with great layouts. Or you could, for instance, put little houses there, or perhaps plant some little trees, or even make the track appear a bit dirty. So now there are really no limits to the imagination. And how it goes from here, you'll see in many more YouTube videos here on the channel. Have fun watching.